Hello all, now we are going to continue with our topic. In the last lecture we understand about the research and goal setting, you know, which comes under the planning process of the website development. This time we are going to cover further topics, The aim of this lecture will to cover planning the site, designing the layout, writing the content, coding, testing and launching, and 7 is maintaining. Let's move. You know, uh, Planning the site, very important. Why planning is very important? Planning the website involves creating a wireframe and a sitemap. Planning a site involves creating a wireframe and a sitemap. Now, what is wireframe and a sitemap? This is a very important concept because this wireframe and sitemap will give you skeleton of our website. Let's move ahead. This is this process usually take 2 to 6 weeks to complete itself, and this is a skeleton of your site. The completion may in general depend upon the various project experience. We came across that this process takes 2 to 6 weeks for its completion. Now let's move. The sitemap allows the developer to get an outline of what the site will look like, to get an outline actually. The basic purpose of the sitemap is to get an outline what the page and how the page will look like. There will be and how they will be interact with each other as well. So intelligent questions like what, how is taken care by this sitemap. So in the sitemap, developers get an outline what pages there will be and how they will interact with each other. This not only helps with planning but it's also beneficial for the user experience as well. End of the day, we are making website for a user only. In every phase and every effort, we need to understand how user will think, because end of the day, our user is our judge, you can say that. So users should able to easily navigate a website, and this we should this comes under a rule known as the 3-click rule. If a user is coming to your website, it should get its object within the 3 clicks. If it is able to get its object within a 3 clicks on your website, then that website is good for the navigation purpose. If it's need to click more than 3, 4, 4, 5 clicks, let me tell you, user not coming back to your website because they lost the interest in it. That's why the process in the e-commerce website is a 3-step process. First of all, you get a product, you go to cart, just you click, and secondly you are going for a transaction, and lastly you are going to pay. So 3 clicks are needed to get your product as well interaction with the e-commerce, interaction with the e-commerce websites. Okay. Now, so what why we came across that sitemap is all about what, how the interaction will be done, and one more thing, how our user will navigate there. And this and whenever navigation and user experience is taken in account, development of the site must always come in the in a board table. How the sitemap should be, how we are going to plan our content within the sitemap. This somehow, this meeting rooms need to take care. So when we used to plan a content, a sitemap lets you design what a structure will look like. So actually, in what is actually the thing is a uh, sitemap under the consideration of the plan content lets us to design what structure will look like. Let's move ahead. Once the sitemap is completed, the other part of the step is to create a wireframe or markup. So the second process, the most important parts are in the second process. The most important parts are two: sitemap and wireframe or mockup. And what is the we understand the what really the sitemap is. Sitemap is to within a plan no, plan content we try to design, and when we try to design, okay, when we try to design our site, so no, in consideration of the user experience, we used to go for the navigate and take a consideration how the user will navigate on our website. Okay, now this part wireframes take care of the visual representation, what site will look like. It should be attractive, so this visual representation parts is taken care by the sitemap. But again, one thing is there: wireframe is not layout. There is a deep difference between the wireframe and the layout, and wireframe will come in the next to our topic. Let's move ahead and understand what is the layout. So we understand what is sitemap. Now it's time to understand. We understand what is wireframe. Now it's time to understand what is layout. So starting in our starting lecture, we introduced that in the last lecture we go for research and goal setting. In this lecture, we are able to cover a planning part. Now we are moving towards the designing the layout. So planning process of the website development is as per lecture you came across that is it also a very intense process. Let's move ahead. What is designing a layout is? What is designing a layout? What is layout is? Wireframe take cares of the visual representation. Okay, what really the layout do? Layout gives our website a character. You know, the character of the website is taken care of by this layout. This step where you get to be creative with pictures, videos, and what kind of the things customer will notice when they come to your website. uh, just so because some uh, creative imagination is introduced in this step, so usually it takes a little bit longer than needed. It used to take 4 to 12 weeks, 4 to 12 weeks from start to finish. This is step only. So time depend on the experience, how much which type of website used to make according to your goal. So during this step, it is especially important to keep referring back to the target audience, which we want to focus on. Target audience is the most important aspect while defining this phase of layout. In this phase only, we in with our team and discussions, we came across which colors we needed, which type of logos are taken in account, and anything that will encourage your audience to interact with the site. Now, by considering how you will create the layout of the website, you are attempting to bring the website to life. That's what a character is. Your character makes you feel, you know, l- life within exciting. That's what a character means. When you see a website and your feeling of connection is what a character of website is. Somehow, when you visit a website, when it is very purely coordinated, you're not going to connect with this website. You only connect with those websites to who which you connect. Okay. So this character is taken care by this layout part. It should help the audience to get the feel, you know, of the product. Please note this step does not yet involve written content. That is the next step. The written content is so important that it need to be its own step. Now, the next we go to R&D. We set our goal. Okay, we structure our website. We wireframe our website for the visual representation. We lay out our things through images, through videos, through content demand regarding the target audience. Now let's move for the next part, that is writing the content, writing the content for our website. What really it is needed to writing the content for our website. This step may be going on simultaneously with the help of different planning steps. As I in starting of this topic as discussed with you, human mind is a very fickle one. You usually figure out an idea in the wake of the time. Its idea is get touched with different information, and originality of the ideas get lost. So to get to get the exactness of the idea without diminishing the its flavor and information building, as well as the information building within it, we need to write down you know our understanding. That's what this step is going telling to us. This step may be going on simultaneously with the other development planning steps. That's where the writing content is all about. The written content of a website is so important to the success. While the step may be happening during the other steps, it is one crucial step which needs a lot of expertise, because if we are going to use a jargon, we are not even going to use a simple steps. That is no use. That's and usually it takes 5 to 15 weeks. The written content on a website is going to determine how the visitor is going to be benefited if he is lost in the your website. Through the content, it will guide how to go in the next steps. Okay, and that's why the content should be in a very low side, as well as its impact should be loud. Now, what I am meaning is that the the word usage should be very simple, but its impact should be very loud. So it is vital to drawing a customer in and keeping them. There is a lot to consider when working on the content of the website. Now, if we asking to write something, we are using a words. Now, the most important part is in writing is words. So one should understand how the words should be used in the writing a website. That's why in our technical domain there is one one post known as the content writer, which usually use this thing, where expertise of this module. So in general, we understand that words are very important role to play. Words are very important roles to play. So a general rule is that you have to assume not everyone is going to want to read so word of a higher vocabulary. Sometimes it's the ego of a person sometimes push to do this. Whenever we know something, we try to vomit in front of anyone, whether the person in front of us is able to understand or not, but we need to omit that. because that is a satisfaction of an ego from a person. So one need to very much precise on our website web page that we are dealing with common man. We are dealing with a common man, and that common man need to consider this. We need to consider the IQ level as well as understanding of the English vocabulary of that common man. So we need to understand this. We need to use those things that the average person is going to learn about it. The average person going to understand about it. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Again, a website should have a vocabulary that the average person can understand. That's the most important point what we have discussed. Let's again move ahead. Again, considering the target audience is extremely important in this writing part. Target Considering the target audience is extremely important in the writing part, especially when it comes to the text being used to give customer information. This can determine what kinds of words and voice will be used in the writing, which can create the mood for the content, whether it be good or bad. One must understand that mood for content is very important, and that where the art of writing is all about how to create that mood within the user. That's why a profile known as content writer is there, so just to create those moods within the user, how the user going to accept your words in his own way. That's why we try to use some uh, be creative and use some catchy titles and headlines to draw people in. Additionally, it is also a good idea to be well versed in writing a call of action. This is what you want the user to do after the reading the content on the site. The content should get a customer exciting about the buying a product or service. A website that has a well written content is going to be much more successful than ones that do not. One should understand your writing speaks about your personality. It doesn't need to be in communicative mode, can be anything. Your uses of word while communication is your personality. One should understand this because it's just throwing your thought process, it's throwing your inner consign, how you understand those things. So website which is very well read, having a well written content, is going to be more successful than the website which is not having the more successful no content. Less no less what I can say, less specific uh, writing for the content. If we are a very specific writing for our content on the website, and if we write general words in the second website we have a very general opinion about something, so always we go for some specificity, because the in the ocean of information what we got on the web, we always try to go for where our job is going to be completed. Somehow when we use that website 3 4 times, we used to remind in our memory that okay, this information I got to this website. Now this type of the connection only be specialized when we have a very well written content. Vagu contents, or haphazard content, the not well assimilated content will never create a sense of recall within our user, because its experience is not so good with us. So before going for this before going for the further step, our after layout, the writing is the most important part, and it should, if layout is giving a character, this written part will give the body to the website. Now let's move. Coding is a inner life of the website, because this only is going to implement all those R&D what we have done. But it's always depend upon information what is feeded on that, or in which type of the object model we want to create to the website, which type of the wireframe we want to create, which of the structure we want to create. So when we have our model, when we have our sitemap, when we have our wireframe, when we have our layout, when we have our written content, then we move for the coding of the website. you know let me introduce this. For any website, we need to go for the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, CSS, HTML helps us. There's my structuring of the website. CSS help us to blemishing it, and this JavaScript helps us to be responsive. Now, HTML basically is aligned with sitemap actually. What is the structure will be. CSS is basically aligned with that layout actually. JavaScript aligned with our whole goal, how to make those website responsive on the various platforms like personal computers, tablets, as well as the mobile network, as mobile phones with a very varied of this. Now nowadays, mobile phone is a very screens, 4.5 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, very screens. So that's why a need of a responsive websites comes into the action. But this is thing of the future when we discuss more about the subject. But in general, coding typically begins with the home page and gradually branches out other pages, including the site. The sitemap, which give the idea of the home page. This would be where the sitemap is followed to ensure everything coded correctly. The code is step taken from coding is a technical job, so it's taken some longer time, 16 to 15 weeks. We do our effort in that. And how to integrate? You'd like to a website. It is something one should be very cautious about that because we need to consider some technicalities like load time. Okay, that's why with the experience, many frameworks are in the market. Frameworks are in the market to help us to integrate various dimension of the website, like a database, web page navigation and all within a single panorama. So we are able to communicate ourselves better through our website. Now, for the administrative purpose, CMS, you know, content management system. Content management system should be there with our frameworks, from which we are able to sure that everything is on our server. Everything is on the server, and during the installation process, all is available for for integration as well. So let's move ahead. After so what you want to do work as one should whatever work we should want to do it should be fit within our constraints of our technical domain. Okay, now once the website is laid out according to the sitemap, it should be tested before moving further. That's most important part. If all the works well, then the rest of the content should be added and formatting should be completed. This phase involves having a deep understanding of the technology you're using. In fact, if you're looking to do most of the work yourself, you should be at least getting a developer to a code so that you can make sure everything is work with the planning. Okay, you have an idea, you just research those things, you just make a goal statements. Then with all further processing, you are able to make a timeline. Okay, you are able to have a content, you are able to make a sitemap, you are able to wireframe that website, you are able to make having a layout of this as well. Now, like, but still, this all imagination, this all paperwork to make it thing live on the web domain, we need a developer. So this developer works very important role play for make the things alive on a web domain. And during coding, one should not forget that other factors like such as search engine optimizations, content management system plugins, any additional tools you might be using for analyzing and testing our website for the future. That's why the coding is a very futuristic domain, one should understand this. By consenting now, because Here the investment is all about the time and energy. Let's make it then so proper, from which no, from which this thing we need not involve in the we need not involve and put in the for the future. Let's move ahead. By keeping SEO, keeping SEO in mind, we we will get a better results and more people will be exposed to our pages. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. This should be the motto one should follow while writing while writing our content. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Let's move ahead. Now we understand for in every coding operation, after that we need to test those operations. So let's understand this also, this testing and launching. Okay, before the website is launched, it is crucial that it is tested out by a real users. All the links and content should be tested to see if it works or not. Not only is it important to test out all the buttons and every everything on the site, but it's also important to test out what user think of it. There is user testing that can be completed to make sure that website is giving users what they need to be successful on the test. End of the day, we are working for our users. Again, there are tools that can be used to determine if anything needs to be changed. Make sure that all written content including spelling and grammar, if your website has a forms, ensure that everything is working correctly. These might be important ways that users can get in touch with you and sign up for the alert messages. Without these working properly, it can be very difficult for the users and also will be difficult for you to have a successful website. Okay, don't just check the website once, but check it over multiple times. When you are confident that everything is in working order, you can go ahead and launch the website live. This website, before the website live, one should check as much as possible. When it comes to launching, you are finally ready, you can do uploading by the server, because end of the day your data is on the server, right? You will need FTP, file transfer protocol, for this process. It's also important to make sure everything is running smoothly immediately after launching. Testing and launching may take 2 to 4 weeks to complete. So overall, this testing and launching has a lesser duration. Next, a futuristic purpose for our website. Once we are done with our job and our website is launched, it's need regular updates to really update according to the user demand. This user demands, always create something, this user demands always help us to maintain a website, and maintaining a website is a very hard work, but more effort we put on this, the better will be the result. Because in a web world, few of the websites keep up to date itself, keep up to date, where we got an edge over the our existing customer. For one, it should be constantly be checked out for that. What job of the maintenance is there? For one, it should be constantly be checked out for the errors. Second, when a user encounters an error, this must be frustrating and may cause them to find what they are looking for somewhere else. You know, errors can also be completely block them from the information they need to make a decision or purchasing a product for the service. This is why it is important not only test your website for user experience before the launch, but also after as well. Because users are very important to us. User experience should often be tested and it should be ongoing. There must be something we always come up to fix the thing in the right way. A website that has constant broken links on outdated content, it doesn't make user happy. This is the one of the important thing need to be considered. By having a regular maintenance on a website, bugs can be fixed as soon as they can be detected. A problem cannot be fixed if it is not known. An unhappy user means that you are losing current or potential customer. Another important aspect of maintaining a website is ensure that all content is current. For example, suppose you are having a GK website and and the CM of some state has changed. And if your website is showing the old content, the credibility of your website get less. Okay, so a regular updation and correct information should be in your website. Because from information only you are getting a better reviews from the customer and better pricing from the customer. By giving bad or outdated information, a customer will not be able to get in touch with the business owner, complete a purchase, and it can be frustrating. While maintaining a website, it is important to know that there are many tools out there, that can be downloaded right on the website. We have nowadays we have Google Analytics actually, which gives us reports of with the help of the business analytics and the data analysis daily, which what is the hit count on the website, how the daily information and data flow is coming to your websites. So this is the ongoing job, and maintenance helps us to make our customer happy. What are the final words I should put for this topic? Planning process for a website development and a website planning process is, now the steps it takes to begin developing your website. This can be lengthy but very rewarding process. By following these steps, you can ensure that websites you launch does its job, which is help us your business be successful. It is important to keep in mind that once your website is launched, your job is not done yet. Maintaining website is ongoing and important step that will help your customer to happy and keep coming back. Remember to take your time during these steps and get your website created properly for the first time. By following the steps above, it will save you lots of time and frustration of the future. Hope you enjoy this session. Thank you for your patience.